Good evening, Toastmasters. We all have dreams, whether they're big or small, complex or simple. We all have them. We have them because they inspire us to move forward, to progress, to improve. And I'm really close to achieving my dream. And I want to share with you the story of how it all came about. And I hope that all of you could learn something interesting from it in order to help your dreams. There are 5 aspects that I can break down a dream into. First, you have to have a concrete goal. It cannot be something that is as simple as, I want to go there, I want to do this. It's a little too vague. Because when you have something that's vague, it's simply not solvable. Because you don't know when you've accomplished it if it's vague. So when you have a dream, make sure that you can quantify it. Make sure it's concrete. Now, my dream for the longest time has been to live in Japan. It's simpler written down. Specifically, to live in Japan in the next 10 years, to work, to integrate myself into the culture, and to be able to survive, and to actually want to live in Japan. Japan is so cool to me. When I first heard about Japan, I listened to a song. It was by Utada Hikaru. She's one of my favorite artists, and it really inspired me. It followed by a whole history of games and learning about samurai and very strange makeup and strange things. But, of course, one thing about Japan eluded me. It's not the ninja. The thing about Japan, as my dream, the next thing, when I have it, is I have to know, what is it? I have to be able to know what it actually is. I have to make sure that it's the actual thing that I want to do. After you know what it is, you have to make sure maybe you don't want something else. Maybe I don't actually want to live in Japan. In fact, maybe I want to live in Lebanon, or maybe in Korea, or in China. So the second collaborate step is to break it down. You have to break down what your dream actually is into smaller pieces, into solvable things that you can somehow complete, one after the other. And when you do this, you have to go back and make sure that they are still part of the dream that you want. To simplify, maybe you discover something like you didn't actually want to live in Japan. In fact, you actually want to live in China. So then your dream changes, and you actually don't want that. So it saves you time to break it down, to make sure it's what you want, to break it down, to make sure it's what you want. It's a reoccurring step. China. I always wanted to visit China. China has an amazing history, as ancient as Egypt, as diverse as any other in the world. So I got an internship to work in China, specifically in Shanghai. I even had a chance to explore for 3 months while working different interesting areas of China. And the thing is, it didn't really appeal to me. I knew it when I was there. The language was nice, the people were nice, the food is nice, the culture is nice, but it wasn't me. And I knew that because the government censors internet. And for me, that's a no-no. That is a deal breaker. That is something I cannot accept. The internet is way too valuable to me to be censored. Next stop, for me, was Korea. I have a Korean best friend, and we talked a lot about different things. We've played StarCraft, the Korea's national sports, I think, personally. Korea has some of the most amazing food that I am so sad there is no Korean food in Lebanon that I know of. I would almost say Korean food is, if not better, as good as Japanese food. So that's not enough to make me to want to live there. I want to visit there, but it's not part of the dream of living, because living and visiting are 2 separate entities. Next, there are always other things, and you only have so much time. You can't research every single country in the world to determine where you want to live, so you have to speculate. Maybe you want to live in the Philippines or Thailand, North Korea, perhaps. But not for me. Those countries are not for me, and I verify them in my own way. Now you have to really understand what it is that you want. Now, if you remember the first picture of Japan that you saw a lot of things that you find pertinent. Like, you know the food, you know about samurai, geisha, ninjas, artwork, the famous tsunami painting. But what is Japan really? Is that really all that it is an anime culture and manga culture and all these different things? So I looked deeper. I looked into, they have the Shinto religion, where they have two different religions. There is Buddhism and Shintoism. And you know what's interesting? In Japan, when I went there, I came from Lebanon, and in Lebanon, everyone is aware of everyone else's religion somehow. In Japan, nobody asks. They are not interested. It is not something in their mind on a daily basis, and I thought that was very interesting. Following that, they have different marital cultures. They have different government structures, and you have to know them because if you want to visit or live in a country, you have to understand how they function. Japan has an amazing etiquette. It is so polite. When you go to Japan, it's almost too polite. I encountered a person when I went up to him and I asked, oh, where's the store? He literally ran around the mall, came back, and told me where it was. I had to wait longer just for him. Actually, it was easier if he actually said, I don't know where the store is, and let me go, but he was so polite, he wanted to help a foreigner. I find that fascinating. And the thing is, it's not like everyone in Japan is good. Don't get that idea, because Japan also has a dark side. There are things about Japan that you have to accept if you want to live there. For instance, their high suicide rate, extremely high due to the social pressure that you experience every day. And it's not the same social pressure like everywhere else in the world. If you do something wrong in Lebanon, people will look at you, but they'll say, whatever, it's okay. He's weird, we're okay, weird guy. In Japan, if you do something as strange or weird as talk on your phone on the metro, people will look at you and you will feel their eyes in the back of your head. Now, of course, this doesn't work for foreigners. They think, it's a foreigner, he doesn't get it. It's okay. But for Japanese people, that pressure is really strong. And maybe for some people, so strong as they don't want to live in Japan. There's Unit 731, if you've ever heard of it. It's from World War II. Japan did human testing on people, on live people in China. And these are things that you have to accept about a culture that you love. The bad things in that culture, the things that they're not proud of and maybe they don't want to share. The other thing, happier thing, are the true good things about Japan that I discovered, like izakaya, people coming together and drinking for a long amount of time. Since Japanese people don't really take alcohol as well as some people, they get drunk much faster and they drink much less, in terms of alcohol quantity. And it's really fun because they get to let out all that social pressure. And it's a really fun moment. They're not getting wasted. They're just getting drunk with their friends or with their colleagues. And that's an interesting thing. Next, you have the real food. See that platter down there? It looks like a pizza, but in fact, it's a pancake of seafood with mayo. It's very strange, but it's so delicious, and you could never find that out without researching. This is what Japan really is. And when you figure out how all this relates to your dream, then you're a step closer to achieving it. This is my list. After breaking everything down, I came up with a fairly short but complicated, meaning difficult list to achieve. It includes studying abroad in Japan. It includes learning Japanese, networking people, finding a job, acquiring a bachelor's degree in science, which is what I personally wanted to do. These lists are different for different people, but you have to make your own. This is a crucial, challenging part because you can make a path that someone else has followed, or you could actually make your own, and you never know when you have to. You have to figure that out on your own. For instance, there's this English teacher that lived in Japan. His path, when you ask him where he's from, is fairly simple. You imagine, oh, he's from the States, oh, he studied abroad, he majored in Japanese, and then he applied to teach English in Japan. He was accepted, he lives in Japan. Another instance, there's a Google employee who lives in Japan, works for Google. You think, he came from Germany, that's quite a far path. And you, even though you know it's a complicated path, you simplify it. But in fact, that person had to go around on a very long journey. He got his engineering degree in Germany, then he worked at Google, then he applied to transfer to Tokyo. These are not direct paths, but some of the paths that you have to make are your own. When I was studying in Lebanon, well, I am studying in Lebanon, I applied directly to a university in Japan, and from that point, there's not really much to do. I was just studying abroad for one semester, but somehow, using opportunities, I was able to get a job in Japan, and now I'm gonna go live in Japan. Finally, my dream is gonna come true. It makes me so happy that after all of this, I was able to achieve this. But some people say this is luck. There is no luck in any of this. You didn't forget, I didn't tell you. there's the fifth point. The most crucial point in all of this isn't that you have to have a dream or verify it, break it down, make a path. These are important things to do to achieve it, but it is nothing without effort. There is no such thing as luck. You have to observe opportunities. You have to put in extra work. You have to do a lot of things that you normally wouldn't have to do to achieve your dreams. The thing is, if you look at my checklist, visiting Japan for 1 semester, simple task. You could probably imagine in your mind, oh, I apply, I got in, halas, it's done. However, if we were to break it down, finding a university in Japan, it was so much effort to find a university that spoke English, that had the major that I needed, that would allow me to stay for 1 semester, and that taught in English. After finding it, I had to know in advance 3 years that I would save up general electives in order to go to Japan. When I saved up those electives, that means I had to take computer science courses for 3 years with math courses and all the other required courses. Usually people have little breaks. I haven't. Third, applying directly to the university. AIU, the university in Japan that I went to, doesn't have a direct affiliation with AUB. I had to apply directly. What that means is I had to get courses that are equivalent in that university as they are in AUB. I had to go around campus, get signatures from the professor, from the department, and I had to create my own course array, meaning that there were different sets of courses just in case one of them wasn't offered that I could still take back with me, because not a lot of courses in that university was offered for my major. Lastly, in order to study Japanese, there's no course in Lebanon. I had to study it on my own. I had to watch movies, I had to read books. I had to figure these things out on my own. And this is all I get is 1 check mark on my list. This is effort, and you can't even express it. That's the thing. That's the thing about dreams. You can't express the effort that it takes to accomplish one thing on your list of things. But if you have the courage, if you have the determination to check all the things off your list, then you can also accomplish your dreams. Thank you.